Florida's Attorney General Ashley Moody is set to get some key documents from the ACC this week. She sued the ACC for several documents, the ESPN media agreement with the ACC and other things, to make those public record. Now, I don't think she really had a great chance to win this lawsuit. And so she ended up settling, spun it as a PR win, whatever. There is one key document that I made a video over on our national channel, College Football Addiction, about. And I think it's pretty important, and I think it could be pretty key. Now, this is a document that Florida State already likely would have access to or would be getting access to, but I think just the fact that this is going to enter into the public record is going to make this more newsworthy. Now, let's jump into it because I got a bunch of questions. People said I was long-winded on the College Football Addiction video. They didn't want to watch 20 minutes, so we'll make this a lot quicker. Now, the ACC and the Attorney General settled on the documents because essentially the AG was going to lose in court, in my opinion. 8/1, so August 1st, is the deadline for the documents for the Florida Attorney General to receive them. There's one specifically that I think we need to look at. Most things are going to be very heavily redacted due to trade secrets. That's been agreed upon. It would be my understanding that the Attorney General and the ACC agreed on the redactions. I think that the Attorney General knew that she wasn't going to win this battle in court and basically said, like, all right, well, I need to spin this as a PR dub. And so that's what she did. The document in question is the letter amendment to amend and restated multimedia agreement. That's dated August 10th, 2021. That's the document in question. That's what we're looking at. The amendment was done unilaterally and without approval by the conference's members by Commissioner Jim Phillips. Now, Florida State alleged in their complaint, both the amended complaint and the original. I'll read from the amended complaint. The wording is very similar on both of them, but I got questions about this specifically. Did Florida State allege that this was a problem with the ACC and the grant of rights and the contract that they've currently got? And the answer to that is yes. Point number 89 in the amended complaint. For reasons never explained to FSU, the 2016 ACC Tier 1 agreement gave ESPN a unilateral option to extend it an additional 9 years beyond its expiration on June 30th, 2027, or until 2036. They tag that the unilateral ESPN 9-year option. This left the ACC unable to market its media rights for the period from 2027 to 2036 while getting nothing in return from ESPN. Point number 98 also speaks to it. It says the ACC network launched in 2019, triggering a requirement that ESPN exercise its unilateral ESPN 9-year option by 2021. Now, on August 14th, 2021, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips extended that option for 4 additional years by executing an amendment of a material media rights agreement without approval by the members of the ACC. Phillips reasoned the added time could potentially prove beneficial if we are able to work out a different arrangement with ESPN. The ACC has worked out no different arrangement. That's directly quoting from Florida State's amended lawsuit that they sent earlier this year. Now, that letter from the commissioner to ESPN and the ACC should not include any trade secrets, so it shouldn't be very redacted at all. Now, FSU is arguing that the grant of rights is invalid and that if this is a change, this is a material change in any way, that could be key to them invalidating the grant of rights and saying that the ACC did break contract, did breach the agreement by not getting approval from the members. Now, Florida State is certainly going to be of the belief that this extension, this option was written in this letter is a material change. Essentially, Florida State and every other member of the ACC have been under the belief that they're operating on an agreement that goes through 2036. What they're really operating on is an agreement that goes until 2027 and then gives ESPN kind of like in contract terms, a player option to be able to extend the contract if they want. The team can do nothing. The ACC can do nothing. They just have to wait on ESPN's call there. Now, no word has come out from ESPN or the ACC, but it seems like if it had already been agreed to or extended, they'd certainly have quieted the concern by announcing that. I know and have spoken with a few of the national reporters that you guys read all the time, and I know they're looking at this and they're waiting for this to come out as well. We did that video late last week on college football addiction, and I expect some of that news to start to come out once these documents are released. Now, Attorney General Moody gets them on the 1st. There certainly exists the possibility that she gets them on the 1st and doesn't release them till Monday or something like that. So I said this week, if it's early next week that the documents come out, don't kill me for that one. I did the video on a Thursday, so give me a grace if we're a day or two late. But I do expect that these documents do come out as public information. I don't expect the letter from Jim Phillips to extend this option or to give this option. I don't expect that to be very redacted. I don't think there are any trade secrets in that. I'd be pretty surprised. I know that your journalists and your media guys that are covering this will dive into this, and I think this is going to be a bad look for the ACC. I don't necessarily know that this document becoming public information has any impact on the court case. I do think it then changes some of the narrative of like, whoa, the ACC really did screw this up. Some of the people who are reporting the ACC's in a strong position will probably start to change their tune some, because I think this is probably part of the damning evidence that the ACC, is going to have to figure out a way to get around. Now, they're going to argue that that was not a material change, that was just a simple agreement. I have a hard time believing that a 9-year extension of any contract is just a simple agreement. Go sign a contract to somebody and then tell them, oh, by the way, I added 9 years to it, and see if they think that's material or not. Obviously, that's for a judge to decide later on down the road. We are probably more reasonable people than, most, but, try to wrap your head around that one. I explained a little bit more about what that video or what that, may mean for the ACC if this is a true material change, which I believe it is, over on the College Football Addiction channel. I'll link that in just a moment. I also want to grab some legal experts, and Doug's probably going to be my first call to try and ask. I've heard some people talk about, man, could there be some charges brought against this, whether civil or criminal? I don't know. Just about misrepresentation. The ACC added 3 teams under the guise of having a contract through 2036. If this contract was really only through 2027 with a team option, right, or with an ESPN option, did they misrepresent that? Have they been misrepresenting the way that they got Cal, Stanford, and SMU into the conference? I don't know. I think that's a valid question. It's way over my head. I could be completely. Doug may shut that down, and he may text me back like, no, that's not the case at all. He's probably going to watch this video before I even send him a text. But either way, he may shut that down. He may comment on here and say like, no, there's nothing there. Or he may, want to come on and kind of opine about it. But something that was brought up to me and something I think you guys would find interesting if there is anything there. I'll link that video on the screen right now, the longer video that kind of goes into some of the ramifications. But I wanted to simplify this and make it really short and really quick as to what the documents, what I'm expecting to come from the FSU ACC stuff this week specifically. We don't speak in a lot of certainties. We don't speak in a lot of definites, but I'm putting a timeline on this one. I expect within, the Attorney General gets the documents on the 1st. I would expect we have them pretty quick after that. If it's Monday, Tuesday of next week, again, don't kill me for that. But I expect we have that, and I expect your local reporters. I expect it to be pretty big news. Your Matt Bakers, your Brett McMurphys, your Ross Dellingers. Unless they've been put a gag order on them or they're doing other people's bidding, I expect them to weigh in on this. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Click the video on the screen right now to see the longer college football addiction video that's about this as well. Thanks, guys. Go Noles.